Gentlemen, you brought up quarterbacks, and I think everybody is looking at Malik Willis as the one quarterback who's going to go first. And I don't know if there's any value in placing a bet on him going first. I think the better value is in where and his draft position is, and who's going to do it, where you're going to find better plus money. So, how do you handicap the quarterback position? Dan, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I think Willis should be the first quarterback taken. I know people have connected Pickett to the Panthers possibly at number 6. In my opinion, just from watching both these guys in college and just going back and watching some of the highlights and some of the tape, Willis just has the more upside, the better overall talent. I think Pickett's the guy maybe if you want to start right away for a team, but the teams looking at quarterbacks aren't really cared about a guy that's going to help them compete this season maybe, and they're just looking for next year and beyond. So Willis just has that higher upside. So I think a team would be willing to take a chance on him. Like, if we're looking at the Panthers at 6, but I see them connected to tackles at number 6 spot. So maybe that's not the spot to bet them. I think the Falcons at 8 are an interesting spot, or even if a team trades up into the top 10 thinking they just want to go grab Willis, you got the Saints have 2 picks later in the first round that they could maybe package something if they really want to go up and grab Willis. The Steelers are another team that are picking later. If Willis falls that far down, they could be a team that's set up to have Willis sit for a year behind Trubisky. Same thing with the Saints. They have a couple quarterbacks like Winston to help Willis sit for a year. So that's the spots I'm looking at. The Falcons too with Mariota. I think the team with a kind of a veteran, maybe placeholder for a year is where I'm looking at.
Yeah, I think with Pickett, I mean, this is not a good draft for quarterbacks, period, end of story. I'll be honest, if you asked me which guy might have the most upside in 5 years, I would say almost Desmond Ritter's name has to be in the conversation, and I've heard some buzz on him to be a first-round pick. Dan, I know that's someone that you want to mention at some point later. But I don't really like any of these guys. I watched Pickett a lot at Pitt because, I watched a little bit of the ACC this year. I didn't watch a ton of Malik Willis. But he has the Mike Vick quality to him where he can move around and throw the ball deep down the field and also move it with his legs. But I don't see anyone reaching for one of these guys. The Pickett stuff to Carolina, the only reason that was floated around is because David Tepper's a Pitt booster. And listen, if that's the reason why you draft a kid, that's a terrible reason to draft a kid at 6. But if that's what they decide to do because the owner's playing all the cards, and I get it, I understand it. He's the one signing the checks. But that's like betting on a team because you like the uniform color. Like it doesn't make sense to me to take Pickett at 6 when you're going to have probably 3 or 4 top-notch offensive linemen available at that 6th pick for Carolina, which is a desperate need for them. So I don't see it. I don't see a quarterback going in the top 10. The odds don't say that either, and I would be surprised. I would need a lot of explanation. Explain yourself, Mr. GM, if a team trades up into the top 10 to get one of these quarterbacks.
Well, look, it's interesting that before the quarterback-needy teams show up at 6 with Carolina, 8 with the Falcons, even 9 with the Seahawks, there are 3 teams ahead of them that all have multiple first-round picks in the Texans, the Jets, and the Giants, which usually indicates that there's moving to be done with those teams with multiple first-round picks. That's why you acquire them to have the flexibility and the ability to move around in the draft. And I'm not saying they're going to get a quarterback in any of those teams, but they have the draft capital to let somebody move up in a position because they have another first-round pick. So that, to me, I think is one of the wild cards in this draft. One of